we've got a few Halloween Ends items to discuss, a few news updates to go over, because there's a few things happening right now, as you know. Starting with the additional filming. So let's start there, shall we? As you know, they are reassembling the entire production, returning to Haddonfield, also known as Savannah, Georgia. And I've got just a little bit more new details on that we can go over right now. What I've laid eyes on myself is some casting notices for extras that are dated as far as shooting dates. And one I have seen as early as this Thursday, June 23rd. And that one is actually looking for, maybe not surprisingly, but some young people to be background extras. And so, of course, that kind of made me immediately think, well, maybe they're going to be shooting a little bit of extra Halloween night trick-or-treating atmospheric type stuff among these. It's often called reshoots, too often called reshoots. It's technically additional filming is what they're doing. And I mean, they might be reshooting something that they already shot, but in all reality, they're probably shooting new stuff. And I'll go into that in just a second anyway, about what they may or may not be shooting. But as far as this, let me turn over here, because I have seen a casting notice looking specifically for neighborhood kids, ages 9 through 16. So again, that trick-or-treating age, specifically maybe that trick-or-treating age where they're just old enough to get a little distance from mom and dad and be lurking around some dark corners and alleyways, maybe. Again, I'm just imagining what they might be needing some background extras as. And what I do know, though, is that's going to be shooting, whatever it's going to be, this Thursday, June 23rd in Savannah. What I can also tell you is we've seen a casting call for a firefighter. And again, you can, I know you guys will have your theories and ideas of what this may mean. And I wouldn't, get too carried away with it, but it is very interesting that they're going to be, that they're specifically looking for a firefighter. And that's how it's worded in this casting announcement. So, but that's going to be shooting again this week, this Saturday, as a matter of fact, June 25th. And apparently they're going to be shooting overnight that night. So, and we did see one other notice that they're going to be looking for some townspeople, or at least a townsperson with a vehicle. And again, this is usually just background talent. Very, very often the people that you kind of see that don't have speaking roles, in other words. But it does give us a very clear indication that they are shooting something this week, as early as Thursday. I've also seen Friday and Saturday's dates. That's June 23rd, 24th, and 25th. With my own eyes on some of these announcements. So apparently they are shooting something late this week and into this weekend. And again, how long these shoots are going to be going and what they're shooting that doesn't even involve public notices like this or extras, that could already be going on. That very much we're not going to know about. And we may never know about. With that in mind, we do have a few new comments, again, from producer Jason Blum. This is actually from the same interview with Screen Rant that we talked a bit about last week. Jason Blum is, of course, speaking briefly, very briefly, about Halloween Ends. And we talked about last week how we talked about the future and that this is their last movie as far as Blumhouse's. Then it goes back to Malick. Again, reiterating what we already know. Reiterating that, yes, he's not saying it's the last, it's their last film. And, take that with what John Carpenter said and what we already know. It's certainly not the last. But we've got a few additional comments since then. When asked how Halloween Ends is, he responds, quote, "It's very good. I'm very excited." And then addressing directly the additional filming happening in Savannah, he says, quote, "We have a few little things to fix on it and finish, but I'm very excited for our last Halloween movie." So a few little things to fix on it and finish. And I honestly think that's about right. I don't think they're like reshooting major portions of this film. I mean, I could be wrong, but they've not done a public test screening. And we talked before about an internal test screening that took place a few weeks ago. And Jason Blum, of course, tweeted publicly that he has seen it. And he comments again in this interview with Screen Rant that he has seen it. And of course, he's very proud of it, and he should be. And I don't think he's lying. But I'm also, I mean, don't think he would say he hates it if he hates it. But I don't think he hates it. But this brings us now to what this movie actually might be, because we still know surprisingly so little about it. We're now less than 4 months away from the theatrical release date, October 14th. And I had said a long time ago that maybe we'd get the trailer this week around the time of the Black Phone. I still think it's very possible. Jason Blum did put out a tweet this week that I kind of took it to maybe mean don't expect it with the Black Phone. We can take a look at that right now, and you can tell me what you think and how you took it. What he says is basically everyone needs to chill and go see the Black Phone. Then we'll discuss the new news. And I kind of took that as him talking to us Myers fanatics just a little bit. And the new news meaning the next Blumhouse production that that they're going to be marketing after the Black Phone. And then, of course, he even responds down here to a fan's comment when they say, if the Halloween Ends trailer doesn't drop, I don't think anyone's going to see the Black Phone. And he says, oh, God. And, so I kind of take that a little bit. I mean, I could be wrong, but I kind of took that just a little bit as don't plan on seeing it with the Black Phone. That being said, I wouldn't count it out completely. I know other people have immediately jumped to the idea that maybe it's going to drop with Jordan Peele's Nope, because that is another major horror release from Universal Pictures. It's Universal's big horror event of the summer, so it makes perfect sense that as soon as that drops, they'd want to immediately start hyping their next major horror event of fall. So that's certainly possible. The only problem I would see with that is that means that's a whole month away, and that would mean that they're not even going to drop the very first teaser trailer until within 3 months of release, which is kind of a traditional marketing window for most big releases this size. But they did drop the 2018 the first week of June, and that wasn't rushed or leaked or compromised. Of course, that was a big comeback film, granted. And of course, last year, yes, the HK was leaked, but even so, it was leaked roughly about a week early, and it still was going to come out around the 1st of July. So, to hold it that long, I kind of questioned that maybe they'd want to release it a little sooner than that, if not this week. I debated a little bit about how much to talk about this tonight. And in complete fairness, I'm going to put out a clear spoiler warning just in case, because what we're about to talk about, it might possibly be considered potentially somewhat spoilerish. That said, I don't think this is spoilery. I don't think it's spoiling any plot points at all about the film. Viewer Anon is kind of a known scooper, I guess. Has a lot of connections, sources, ear to the ground in the industry, um, and kind of a reliable source within the Twitterverse, I guess. And we've been watching him for a while. We talked a while back about their, I say his, hers, I don't know, whoever runs the account, their recent tweet about Halloween Ends, that there has not been any public test screening, but there was that internal test screening, apparently for some of the studio execs and so forth. And Jason Blum may or may not have been there. He might have seen it on his own at some other time, but it all happened within a few days of each other, if not at one time. But there hadn't been a public test screening, at least according to Viewer Anon, who really kind of has their ear to the ground on this type stuff and has proven to be a pretty reliable source in the past for this type of stuff. So, with that in mind, we're going to talk about a few of the thoughts and the tweets that they put out just recently about Halloween Ends. I wouldn't even classify this as rumor per se, because I don't like to cover rumors. And I wouldn't even really call this a rumor. I think this is more of a signpost on this road to Halloween Ends, this road back to Haddonfield, that is reminding us and kind of reconfirming what I feel like we kind of know going into this and need to remember. But the bottom line is that this film is going to be a little bit different than HK in 2018. So this is the Viewer Anon account, and again, I'm not going to read every single tweet. You can find them on Twitter and read every tweet if you wish, word for word. But I'll give you the Cliff's Notes version of this. And what they are hearing, and again, this is from a version of a script that was apparently read, and hearsay from people that might have been privy to what was shot on the film. And we all know, and I always have to preface and remind that, as you all well know, what is shot and, what is written in the script, any version of a script, what is shot on the day and what makes that final theatrical cut, they don't always coalesce and align exactly. So you just have to keep all that in mind. And Viewer Anon, even here in these tweets, even makes it clear, makes that clear that so take all this with a grain of salt. Things do change, and none of these comments or knowledge, supposed knowledge, alleged knowledge, comes after whatever additional filming is about to take place. But with all that in mind, as the film screened internally, as what was shot, as that first cut that Jason Blum has seen, what Viewer Anon claims is that this movie is about more than just Michael Myers coming back, killing people, and Laurie Strode trying to stop him. Their specific words, and this part I will quote exactly, they say there are other factors and threats at play. And I know you guys will have theories and thoughts on what that may mean, and I welcome those theories and thoughts. You can speculate. I think that's okay. Like I said, speculation is all part of enjoying the films. But my own take on that is, well, I'll give you that in just a second. In a follow-up tweet, he reconfirms that there has not been a public test screening yet. So whatever is happening with these additional filming, this additional filming, it's not the result of a public test screening. So that's a little bit interesting there. But again, viewer Anon says they have information based on a script and sources that worked on the film. But here's the quote that, to me, is probably the most interesting. They say it's more interested in the boogeyman than just Michael Myers. And that got me really interested and curious what that could mean and the possibilities of what that could mean. In their view, 2018 is the love letter to Carpenter. HK is ultimate slasher, which is actually what I call HK. That is our ultimate Michael Myers, if you ask me. That is Michael Myers to the ultimate power right there in HK. So I agree. That's ultimate Michael Myers. And 2018 is the John Carpenter love letter. They're saying that Halloween Ends, in their words, is going a different way. Now, I can hear some of you already. I can already hear you. We share the same airwaves, the same frequencies. Some people are going to take this as like it's a different way, as like some of these wild theories I've seen online of Silver Shamrock is controlling Michael Myers, or the radio tower frequencies are the origin of Michael Myers, whatever. I don't think that's what any of this is talking about. I think this is much more from a David Gordon Green filmmaking standpoint of this is going to be a different type of film. And I think it'll probably have more of David Gordon Green's fingerprints on it than the previous two. When I hear that it's going a different way, some of you will be worried, and I get that, but I don't feel that. This makes me excited. And that quote, that it's more interested in the boogeyman than just Michael Myers, my mind does start turning. And I want to hear your thoughts, though. I want to hear what you're thinking about this.